just want to. I don't know. I look like a fool when I'm trying to work my camera phone. Hello, give us your name and tell us what you're here for.
Hi, my name's Sam Mealy. I'm here with Patriotic Alternative, and obviously we've all heard about what's going on in Hull. We came here back in November and did a small demo, and we're back here again. It's great to see the public of Hull have actually come out in force to against this. So we've been giving out our leaflet here today as well. The front is signs of abuse, so we can hopefully avoid these things happening in the first place.
Brilliant, that's what's needed,
and then
education.
The reverse is talking about our community.
Just hold it up a little bit.
Sorry. The reverse is talking about our community-based solutions.
Brilliant.
Clearly, as we've found with this case, the authorities aren't exactly well suited to deal with it, and obviously the independent report as well, which found that authorities are burying this stuff, which is horrifying.
Yes.
So even though the police have said not enough evidence, how are we to know for sure? The only thing we can do is apply more pressure and let them know that the consequences of not following through with these investigations is more than burying it.
Yes.
I'm really glad to be here today and really pleased with the numbers.
Are you part of an organisation? Do you have a formal title, or are you just sort of part of the whole United Hull?
I'm the Yorkshire organiser for Patriotic Alternative.
All right.
But it was our Eastern officers who alerted us to this event, and we were so pleased that there was action being taken on this.
Brilliant.
So we've come along today. Probably got about 16, 17 of us here.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're people from across the country to attend.
Yes.
This is so important.
There's a fair few from up the north east and a few from London as well, so that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there were some people coming over from Sheffield area as well, so yeah, it's great. It's a great turnout, I think, because sometimes these ones are not very well supported because the subject matter. But
exactly, I think people are they're getting over that fear of being labelled.
Yeah.
And at the point it reaches, it's not worth keeping quiet on these things. You've got to speak out, and they'll call you all sorts.
I'm a gimbal's doing its own thing. Sorry about this. Right. I'm terrible with this. I can't do it.
Don't want to do something.
I don't know. I'm going to have to do something with it. Hang on. I have no idea. Sorry folks, I have no idea. My gimbal is doing its own thing. No, it's my fault. Because do you know what? I'm really sorry about this. If it's not on the right way, it doesn't balance.
Yeah, it just keeps.
No, sorry. It's because it's turned. I need to turn it off
Oh yeah, reset it.
and reset it. But right, people, it's starting to rain.
I'll see you around then.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Right, people, I'm going to try and sort this out because we're going to start marching in a minute and it's raining. I'm going to put that away. Yeah, I've got to put the gimbal away because it was doing its thing again, and I'm useless with it. Right, sorted. I'm gonna get wet.
Front, Phil, I think. Okay.
I've given up with my gimbal, Phil. It started spinning again.
Oh, no. Are you on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them we aren't going to get to the square to walk now.
Morning, Jace. Peace, love and light. I can see me going over.
I can't help it. That's what I'm watching.
So walls are falling off. My shoes. My shoes are falling apart. Oh, it's a bit windy, Phil. I think my hat might blow off. Do you know, it's a really good turnout, isn't it? You need to slow down a bit, I can't walk backwards this fast. Hey, there you go, you see. Casey's asking about brown sauce.
Brown sauce. Oh, mate,
That was your life the other night.
no, I'm not having a breakfast, Chase.
He's not had breakfast yet.
Bread all white sauce right now. Starving.
How was the train journey?
It was fine. Straight up, you know. So there was a little bit of a rush getting on. I didn't have a chance to grab anything to eat. But yeah, the journey was fine.
Brilliant.
Just watching the weather changing, going from good to bad.
I know.
What we're coming into here. So far, so good, eh? So, how was your drive?
It was good. I come the coast way really, cause over Pickering, so it's quite nice country lanes and stuff. But yeah, look at that crowd. Quite a good lot of people. That's what we like to see. Oh yes, thank you for that. Right, if you just joined us, we're in Hull, campaigning to reopen Operation Marksman. Humberside Police said there wasn't enough evidence, but clearly there was, because they gave the statements and that should have been enough, really. I think we're going to be hearing from some of the survivors today. They want to speak out. Yeah, I heard one earlier.
I might get the.
Do you want me to shout for you, Ian? I'm bloody good. I'm loud, I'm loud. Hey, I can admit it. Just going to give you an idea of how many people we're following on. And there's going to be people meeting us in the town as well. So, how do I get that off? Yeah, it's quite a good following. It's good. And those leaflets the guy was talking to before my gimbal went mad. That's what we need. We need people to educate. If we don't put the information out there, then how are these girls supposed to know how to protect themselves? Really? You're right. You cheeky, you Jess. Wish I kept my gimbal out now. Yeah. I'll catch up with them. Go let them pass. I'll go from behind. Look at that. People come from far and wide today. It's really good. Hey, who says people don't care? Hiya, Chelsea. Are you alright, darling? Yeah. Let's have a look at your signs, girls. Yes. What's that one say? Absolutely. Good girl. Brilliant. Right, I think that's the last of them. Oh, it's £30 to begin with. I'm going to go on that side. Gotta catch up to the front now. Oh no, it's freezing, isn't it? Oh well, you got it. I had my gimbal out, but it started spinning round, so I had to put it down. Holding my phone like that. I'm live.
It is.
Right. It's you're free to be able to speak if you want to say it later. All right. I'll tell him if you want to. Let me know if you want to speak.
It's definitely worth a watch.
That's Zaina. Zaina's campaigning against Greater Manchester Police. So what happened to her in the police station? She was falsely arrested. And hopefully she'll say a few words later. I know she's trying to get the evidence, video evidence from the police station at the moment, so it's an open case really. I know. I don't know how noisy it is with the wind on the live, but we're just walking into town. Be better off with roller skates, Jace. Back to the front. How far are we off, Ian?
We're nearly halfway.
Alright, brilliant.
Are you getting tired?
No, never.
The piggy front.
Oh, what?
The piggy front.
It's a piggy front. Like a piggy back, but on the front.
The other way around.
It says you're live. It even popped by just to remind you. Piggy front. Tick on with that.
You walk on that road, mate?
Yeah. Yeah, just round it. And then go back onto the path.
Oh, okay. Turn the road. Eh? So, you have to go to the way, mate. Yeah, it's not like
Walk beside you and then load it that way. Yeah, Zane has arrived. I said if you wanted to speak. You know the girl I was telling you about from Manchester?
Yeah, she wants to speak. Just let herself be known, and then
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
So is this the road because you couldn't walk on?
no, this is one we are allowed to walk on.
Oh, well, why are we on the path then?
You can use like we are doing now. If you look behind you, we're at. They said we use.
I know because they keep having. Do you want to bring the banner on the road? Yeah, I think there might be. Might be some victims. Hi. Well, I'm warming up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Fingers are starting to go.
Yeah, my fingers are a bit numb and my toes, but
Keep going. Keep going.
what was that all about, do you think? I'll be finding a cottage, don't you worry. Might have to find a shoe shop and all. Bring the posts in way.
Move that out this way. Come this way to the trees. You just walk on this part here, so that we're not going around the tree.
Right, so this reopened Operation Max. Just choosing. It's a police operation that investigated the complaints about being groomed by a group of girls, and it appears that Sky News reported more of the facts than the police actually bothered to look at. So the CPS said there wasn't enough evidence, which is bullshit. I didn't know. They just don't like to prosecute certain members of the rape gangs, but we'd rather sweep it under the carpet, get it happens. It's good that there's so many people from so many places come out to support as well.
Keep walking!
Walking in traffic, that's what I like.
Excellent. Once you cross the hospital, you move across the main place, thank you.
Everyone in the cars are thinking, what is going on?
That's what we want him to do. We want him to have a look. I tell you what, it's good for legs, isn't
I was going to
it?
say it's good exercise for the legs.
They need to slow down a bit though. I'm getting a bit tired now.
Want us to slow down?
The next major junction, Kev, I think they're going to block it off. Start filtering across. Go.
But
Found us then.
it's all beautiful along. Into the square. Yeah, brilliant how much support they've got. So yeah, this grooming issue, it's a long-standing issue. It's not a new thing, is it? It's been going on for 30 odd years in a lot of the towns. I know certainly in Middlesbrough area. I don't know how recent the whole's become a target, but certainly these girls reported the incidents, I think, in 2019.
Justice!
See you later,
Girls
Dave.
about justice!
Yes! So yeah, so keeping the whole. Some of them it's just support though.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of the time it can be.
I'm sure we've seen some in the centre, you know.
Yeah.
There's already a gathering there.
Oh yeah, they will. This the ones that couldn't walk this far.
Yeah, or there.
They've
Look
gone
at the older crowd.
Yeah, they were meeting us there. Can I put you on camera? There you go. Might as well. You better looking than that lot, innit? No offence meant, right? You know, I think they mostly agree.
So what normally happens? So you're going to walk down to the centre?
Yeah, we'll walk down to the square and then there'll be speeches. There's 4 of us speaking.
Okay.
Ian, who is the organiser,
Right.
and I think some of the survivors have said that they want to speak.
As well. So is that, are they here as well?
Yeah,
are
there's.
they? A few.
I think a couple of them are holding the banners
Oh, okay.
up at the front. I've not been introduced to anybody, like, so I don't really know. But I know Ian said that a couple of them said they've thought about it, but they don't want to
Have
speak.
you seen Tom Morris?
Yeah, he's
At the front of the park?
well, actually, I saw him in the park, and I haven't seen him since. So I don't really know because it's that kind of hiya kind of. Declan Garrett, Matthew Curran. Yeah. Oh. Cover up, yeah, they cover up. They're good at that. They're good at covering up. These police and these council, they're good at covering up, aren't they? That's what my little speeches are going to be a bit about. Why I got sacked.
You know what I was thinking? You've not met Kay Williams, have you, from
No.
Rotherham? So he said that he's been to several protests, say about 20. Yeah, and he said one of the protests was what prompted a report into the child groomer. So they're well worth doing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but you know what I was surprised at? I always assumed Hull was predominantly white.
Right.
So because of that, I wasn't aware that the groomers were targeted girls here as well.
Yeah.
Or is it that they...
Well, some of them,
Pick them up, yeah.
yes, well, they do that as well. And I think one of the girls was from a small seaside town
Yeah.
outside of Hull. Bloody man. Outside of Hull, it's got me gimbling on Ian on there, but so they get trafficked.
Because I
around.
assumed because it was predominantly white, they're probably trafficking them here to obviously make them work.
Yeah, but they are girls from Hull, but they've moved into who's that? Diane. Hiya, Diane. They moved into more and more towns now. So, but it's a business, isn't it?
It is, exactly.
It's a business. They make money off it. I mean, you don't do it for kicks, really. It's like the car wash business or the pizza business or whatever the business. They go into that business protecting themselves. But
Do you believe them when they say it's because of race? They're scared of being called racist, so they don't target them.
I think they're controlled by a group.
Voting.
I
Instead
think,
of voting because they want like the votes, or
yes.
do you think they're actually controlled by the groups that groom the girls?
I think the Muslim Brotherhood has a lot of control, really. Certainly in the Middlesbrough area.
Would you say cartel type? Like,
I would say I certainly
maybe
know
they
that
fear.
the family that my daughter was friendly with, friends of theirs, they were getting done for trafficking, they were getting done for drug offences, and I mean one of them, the main man's son, got pulled over, got tested positive for smoking weed.
Yeah.
Went to court and they go, oh, the test kits were all faulty. Nothing to do with who his dad is then running the town. Do you know what I mean?
So basically, you'd say that the authorities were probably on the payroll.
Oh, they're definitely on the payroll. They're certainly controlled. I don't believe it's just because they're scared of being called racist.
Well, no, that's the excuse that they use in the mainstream media, don't they?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, we
definitely.
don't want to be called racist.
Yeah.
But there's definitely more to it.
Do you know they tried to sack me for racial discrimination, but because couldn't prove
Hello.
I know, you beat my house, innit? they couldn't do me because I'm not racist.
I know.
So they put it down to religious discrimination.
Well, you
because
can't be again.
I'm discriminating against every religion. I think it's a form of control.
Exactly.
So, you know, they didn't say anything when I was talking about the Catholic priests being paedophiles in the office. They seem to just laugh that off, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it's
So, is it, whole purpose of this just to raise awareness in Hull.
Yeah, and get the
Council
Operation
of the council.
Marksman opened back up because they shut it down. They investigated it and then shut it down. And CPS said there wasn't enough electronic evidence, but there was. They said they reckon they checked 10,000 texts, 200 devices, arrested 38 people or whatever.
And charged how many?
And none.
None.
Apparently there wasn't enough evidence. They can track drug dealers from one county to the next. But yeah, if you share a tweet that they don't agree with, they'll come knocking at your door, won't they?
Exactly. Oh. Priorities.
Don't believe for 1 minute they didn't have enough evidence. They didn't have any evidence when they took my case to court. Didn't have any at all. It was all hearsay according to the law, and they still took it to court. They wanted their hands on the pot of money. That's what they wanted. If there's no money in it for them, we're not interested.
Let's tell you which one you want. It's buy you new one or buy a deed.
Just made a massive bin card.
It could be.
With some placards
Oh, it
there
looks
as
like
well.
it. Unless we've got a counter protest. Not had a counter protest for a while because
So what did the county protest against? And
they protest against us being racist and far right. I've been on demos with the veterans and they've stood and called them fascists. And it's like, really? Are you calling the veterans fascists? This is how
it's an easy get out code though, isn't it?
brain dead. The thing is, it's all communist names, isn't it? It's communist propaganda.
Oh, it does look like it's a counter protest. They seem like to be shouting something.
Oh yeah, they are. The counter protests. Oh hey, I'm off. Bit of bad. Bit of counter protest.
I'm filming.
Excuse me! Don't put that in my face! She put it in my face!
Get back over there.
I wasn't over there!
Stand up to racism.
Lefty idiots! Brain dead lefty idiots! How pathetic are this letter? Aggressive there, I did. She should have told her. Did you see her face? John's over there.
Oh yeah, I can see
Did
it.
you see him? Do you see her shove that sound in her face?
Why does it say justice for victims?
I know, and then don't let the racists divide us.
Why?
I know, because they try to look like they're on their side, but they're not. There's victims in this lot. You don't care about them, do they?
I'm looking at your jeans, yeah.
My what?
I'm looking at your jeans, don't worry about that.
What do I?
When you think I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at you. Well, what do you think I'm looking for?
For my jeans?
What's that? They're nice.
Oh,
They fit you in the right places.
oh, thank you very much. Did you see the woman put the sign in my face?
I wish I'll tell you what.
I tell you what, I nearly took it out of her hand. She should have thought.
That's why
Stitch up, that was a stitch up.
I know.
No, but that's why I'm like this. Enough of us to fucking hammer them to the ground. I want hammering to the ground because they should be out.
I know.
I don't mind them doing it when we used to do our EDL and all like that. But look, kids in there.
The victims in this crowd, there's actual victims in this crowd.
Yeah, well,
There's girls in it, there's girls with us that have been victims. And shopping counter demo. Alright. People get annoyed when they try to protect the perpetrators, and that's what they're doing basically. How are we dividing anybody here? Drawing attention to the crap conservative. You got left idiots like that. With Phil. Hey, Antifa out in a little crowd there.
I know, did you see this?
Oh no, I went over, she shoved a sign in my face.
Oh,
I shoved it back and police come over. I says, she just shoved it in my face. We support the victims. I was out then when you shouting, don't let the racists divide us. There's victims in this lot, do you know what I mean? This is what they're not even understanding. They're doing that, that's insulting to these girls.
Shannon, how would that make you feel as a survivor walking past someone that's saying that when all you want to do is get justice? And
instead of joining with us and proving to themselves that we're not actually racist. I mean, I just walked up with Zaina. Telling her that again, they tried to stop me for racial discrimination, and she's like looking at me like, because obviously she's Pakistani, so she's like, how are you racist?
Oh my God.
But I remember Danny told me about Zaina. She's the one that's got the case against Vietnam.
Okay, right. People also saying on the live, a couple of 3-4 years ago, that you'd be over there.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you just sorry, you look pitiful.
Yeah.
Your argument's not even valid, and all you're doing is stifling it.
I know.
Send me your picture.
They all get paid by council though, so it's worth it turning up, isn't it?
Well, this is it. Yeah, wonder how much an hour they're on.
I think when somebody starts poking into it, I know when when they started poking into it in Sunderland, they stopped paying them. They did, Twaffer. They were paying Twaffer, and they stopped once they found out they were looking into it.
There you go, you see.
Yeah.
We're doing this for free.
I know, that's why they can't touch us, Phil.
It's morally right what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't touch that. The far left are basically supporters of pedos. Well,
Right, we're going round here, it seems, for the speeches. Yes, share and subscribe. We're walking around that way. They're a commodity, aren't they, Kenneth? They're just a commodity, these kids. Where's Tracy? Should we go and meet his here? Are you the reporter? Oh, so sure somebody pointed somebody out earlier and somebody reported with GB News, but I can't. Oh, it might have been. I know she had a black coat. Are you with GB News?
I am.
Oh,
You're
hiya.
right.
I'm alright. Have I seen you before? I think I might have.
You look
So-
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're part of this group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do children that matter needs? I know Active had said to you about talking to them, but
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be speaking.
Yeah. It'd be great to get you. I'm going to try and record. I've got my camera kit, but it's all the way back in my car. I couldn't carry it all. Hopefully the phone will be.
Well, that's all we ever use. Like, but I had a gimbal out, but it kept started spinning round, and I'm no good with it, so I had to put it back. I'll never be a journalist near that.
Oh.
Not that I want to be.
I'll catch you.
There he is. There she is. There she is. How you doing?
All right, love.
You been here long?
No, I've been in Wetherspoons, having a coffee.
Oh, you lucky thing. Is that Wetherspoon?
Further down there.
What's Punch Hotel then? Is that like a Wetherspoon? Right, where's Costa's? It's a good crowd, isn't it? Well, we always say that, don't we, Trace? But I mean, there's people come down from Sunderland. They've come from Sheffield. Come from over Leeds way. London. Oh yeah, you're right. Hello. What are you looking for?
You're driving the car.
Have they got the sound system in it, like? Oh, you've got it, have you?
You're talking about come from. Mate! Mate!
I need some gloves. Oh, I know. Now you need some of these gloves. You can touch your screen, look.
Speeches, to get ready for the
Yeah.
speeches.
Yeah. Who's that? Sorry. Babs. Hi, Babs.
Yes, Babs.
Come on with Babs. Dream team, innit?
Yes. I've got my hoodie on, but you wouldn't know it.
I know, same.
I was
Too cold, I've got 2 coats on.
I was going to bring the tea lane. I thought, no, don't, you know, because you'll get here and you'll regret it. So
Yes.
I've got my big overcoat, my
Yes.
big duvet with me.
I had three different coats in the car and I've got 2 of them on.
Can't do it, hadn't you? My mother always used to tell me it's better to have too many layers than not.
Yes, at least you can take some off.
It's true, innit?
Look at this.
Oh, what happened there?
Oh no! Cheap shoes. Asda specials.
So do you reckon?
Well, to be honest, I think you get the main groups like this, but you know.
What do you think people it needs to happen in order to get this wider mainstream?
I think those guys down there with the leaflets on what to look out for and how to guard against it is the way forward. Putting out that information, the information that I get sacked for even talking about, handing it out, posting it through doors, leaving it in toilets, leaving it in shops, cafes, wherever. I think people can then just pick it up and go, oh really? Is that true? And hopefully then investigate it themselves. But until it happens to them, I think they just... And you can understand people not wanting to bring it into their reality. Because once you start looking at it, it's everywhere. And it can... I gorged on Game of Thrones and it sent me doing Wally, I think.
Yeah. No,
Tapped into my
it
fear
can
and
affect your
rage
vibration,
system.
can't
Yes.
it? But don't red pilling affects your vibration.
Yes.
But it's only temporary, isn't
It is. You get over it. It settles back down. It's like the grieving process, isn't it? It's like, what? Is that even the thing? And then you realise it is, and you get over the shock, and then you get really angry about it. For the groups that's actually doing something about it, because you want to be part of it, because you're so angry, and then you kind of settle into being proactive. I think, like these guys with the leaflets and setting up the pages and doing what. The education is key, always key. It's education, and the education in this country is diabolical. You're not allowed to speak the truth. You get labelled if you do. So yeah, it's
like an empowerment level in it. It's just slowly empowering yourself.
yeah.
It's horrible knowledge. You should digest it.
The thing is, I got wrong off my mum when my kids were little, right? Because they started talking about stranger danger and stuff at school. There's a bit of an age gap between them, but as soon as they were starting to ask questions about things, I told them, because of what had happened to me with my family member, I told them the dangers, and I told them you can't just, if anybody, your body will tell you if something feels wrong. And so when somebody makes you feel wrong about anything, whether it's something they've said, something they've done, the way they've looked or touched or whatever they've done to you, you tell me. I don't care who it is, and I don't care what it is, and I don't care if you think it's silly. You tell me, and I'll decide what I do about it. Don't keep it to yourself, because I think, although my mum found out about what was going on, and that's from the age of 6, so they stopped when I got kind of a little bit older. But I remember waking up in tears and not feeling like I could tell anybody, just like there was something wrong with me.
Even though your mother had said that.
Well, I didn't know, because by the time I got older, I put it down to like it being sort of a bad dream, and I kind of felt wrong for that as well. It's like, how could you dream things like that at such a young age? And it wasn't until I was 16 and then I saw the guy and he brought it back, because I kind of buried it by this, you know, you get into your teens or whatever. And I saw him when I was 16 and he brought it back, so I'd gone home and mentioned it to my mum about what I used to dream about, and she was like, can you remember that? And I was like, what? Because I consoled myself that it was a bad dream, it was all in my head, but she said, oh no, can you remember him doing this? And I went, no. Trying to get me up a ladder. I said, what did you do about it? She said, well, we just stopped him getting anywhere near you. And I was like, you should have gone to the police. And I was a bit upset that they hadn't actually taken any action, because I felt like I'd had to deal with that on my own. And that's why I feel so much for it. And I get so, things like this do trigger anything that triggers my fear system.
Well, I mean, you bring up 2 points there. It's like 2 cautionary tales. 1 is for the survivor, and 2 is for the parents.
Yeah.
on how to deal with
Yeah.
it, how we feel.
That's why I'm putting that parenting programme together, Phil. I want parents to be able to talk to the kids and understand the behaviours and get to the top so they can prevent having a healthy mechanisms to deal with stress is what children need, and parents don't always know how to give it. I didn't. My first 5 years of parenting, I was terrible. That's why I started reading and all. That's what led me onto the path I went on. But 30 years, 25 years ago, really. But for the first 5 years, I mean, my daughter's just finished reading The Chimp Paradox, and she's got loads out of it. But she turns 30 in a few weeks, and it's taken her this long to kind of get over what I did to her, really. That's how I see it. She doesn't see it like that. She thinks I'm a really good mum, but you do carry the guilt of parenthood, don't you? And the anger and the things I was trying to deal with while I was a parent gives me an understanding of how difficult somebody that's been abused as a child then has to deal with those feelings as a parent. And when you've got a general thing, that you've got people that you can go talk to and that you can offload on someone. You know, so that's the way forward, I think, is the education.
I think you're right. Wise words, Shannon. Could you do me a big favour, Shannon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you want me to shut that bag up a bit?
Please, yeah, just a little bit. Preventative measures. I think that's the way forward.
Yeah.
Both adults and children.
Many people to turn out, to be honest. When we started this 2 months ago, 3 of us. And it just goes to show what a bit of advertising does. Operation Marksman started in 2019. 2 years of investigation by the police. 34 arrests, 200 electronic devices seized, not one shred of evidence. Does that not sound strange to you? What are they hiding? What will they tell us? I've been talking to the survivors and it's cringing, it's awful, it's sickening, it's upsetting, it's depressing. These girls have to live with that every day of their lives. What are we doing here today? Well, we want justice for these girls.
Protection for our girls without taxpayers' money from police. For the police to do the job. Exactly. Get your finger out.
When we started in the beginning of December, 6 of us took a letter to the police on Clough Road. I've been asked many times what were in them letters, and I've kept it to myself, really. There's only about 3 people that actually know what was in it. What I want to do now is read out some of the questions I asked and the police's reply to them questions. Why did you end the recent investigation of Operation Market Garden relating to the persistent violent sexual crimes against children? You were provided with numerous witnesses' statements and colossal supplies of evidence from various sources, including the names, addresses of all these offenders. This was handed on a plate to you to go and seek justice, yet you but to encourage them, we continue in the knowledge that was drawn out of the investigations under your watch are likely to fade away. This renders any children or any child protection laws and safeguarding guidelines irrelevant in your police authority. Now I'll give you their reply. That's right, there wasn't one. Question 2. Why do you refer to the importance of the need for electronic evidence? Was the evidence of the girls not enough? Do you need us to introduce you to the procedures in rape convictions of minors where electronic evidence was not only the basis of a court would consider evidence? This is a big area of concern that your investigation seems to be dismissive of all forms of evidence in favour of one which we assume has resource and budget implications. Please clarify this comment as to why the overwhelming evidence from these girls was not enough. Now for the police to reply. I won't let it linger, there wasn't one. Next question. Why did you fail to work closely with the supporting school who provided you with hundreds of logs after they took the time personally to support the diary and the abuse of these children? The local social services working with you, normally the face you blame for not being joined up with your process, provided more than enough graphic information and evidence which was traumatic for these young girls. Yeah, you've got it the way I want. There's another three questions, but they're all around the same. Why haven't they done their job?
Because they don't care, that's why.
Yeah, they don't fucking care.
There's no money in it for them.
Why are we here today? To do their job, to make people aware of it. Can I have a show of hands who knew about marksmen before any of this started? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of a lot of you. 8, sorry, there's one over there. 8 people out of everybody here knew about marksmen before I put it on everywhere. Okay? So that goes to show how quiet he was kept.
Even the liaison just as bad. Genius fucking words. The police liaison never tells you never
weeks I've been in touch with our Labour Council.
They've got one under investigation and we don't know who it is.
I'm not going to go into all the details they gave me, however I've put something together.
The councillor's name was under investigation.
The understanding of the situation that there was no evidence of any organised grooming gangs working in Hull or the local area, but there was awful individual people doing awful things, but not as an organised gang.
That's what they said to Maggie Oliver in Rotherham.
The investigation was not closed, but that they had exhausted all possible inquiries.
All the taxpayers' money!
Except for believing the girls.
There was one bit of evidence there. Thank you, Sharon. I was just about to say that.
Sorry.
There's one bit of evidence there that you've got to take into account. And that's the victims' statements, the survivors who told them exactly what happened. Who was doing this, when they were doing it, where they were doing it, what cars they were doing it. All the information they needed was there. They ignored it all.
Where do you live? Where the corrupt government was all doing it.
I've invited all MPs in Hull to attend today. I'm still looking for them.
Yeah, you will be.
They'll be done.
Turn up today to support the young girls of this city. What are they doing for this city? Making it look pretty. That doesn't help the girls.
You need to stand for council, Ian.
Not a city of culture, it's a city of grooming gang.
Okay. For now, that's enough from me. So I'm going to start handing over to some of the speakers. Our first speaker. Thank you, everyone. You'll learn a little bit more with me later, so you will be getting sick though. Right, our first speaker, Karen. Now, Karen's travelled up from London today.
Woohoo!
You want to step around to go up here? Right, so Karen, I've been working with Karen since day one. When I first put out a plea for advice, which way to go, how to do it, what to do. Karen's done this day in, day out for God knows how long. So she's going to read some statements from the survivors of Operation Marksman. We have picked out what we need to say. Some of it is not nice to hear, so we have taken that away, but still some of it is not nice. Karen, everyone.
Afternoon. I would like to say it's nice to see you all, but we shouldn't really be here, should we? It's their job and their failings. They're failing the children of this town and every town across the UK. Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford, and yet we're here again fighting the same fight we shouldn't have to fight it. I'm going to read out some statements, and they're quite sensitive and upsetting, so we just have to pre-warn you about that. The names have been changed, but these are real statements from real victims. I was known as Anna in the Sky film. I'm from East Riding and I was involved in Operation Marksman. I endured horrific experiences along with many other girls. I was trafficked, I was raped, I was burnt, I was hit. I was punched and I was bitten. I was strangled until I passed out, all by these men still walking free. I then handed the police thousands of pages of evidence along with other girls, all for the police to turn around and tell that still in and around Hull and still being seen with vulnerable girls. We need justice and we need these men locked up or it will never stop. We are very grateful for everyone who's turned up today to support us in getting justice. Also a huge thank you to Sky News who got our story out there and have supported us ever since. I am Megan and I am from Hull. I was involved in Operation Marksman. I was sexually assaulted, locked in a room and left bruised. I was drugged to the point I couldn't walk or feel from my neck down and have no memory of what happened or how I got home. I went to, sorry, my pronunciation, Clove Road, to report the abuse, where I was turned away and told it was too serious for the police to deal with. The police then invited... Okay guys, can I finish? Let me finish these please. The police then invited one of the men to the station for a chat and he got away with it and he is still walking free now. If these men are not stopped, it will only carry on. Thank you for all your support and coming to the march. I am Millie. I was also involved in Operation Marksman. I was taken with another girl to leave. We have all been failed by the police, with not one prosecution. We are very grateful for all your support from the people of Hull and thank you for you all attending this protest today. It's nice to finally be listened to and we will get justice. Sorry guys, I just need to turn over. Sadly, I'm not finished. Sadly, there's more statements. Sorry.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
I am Mia. I was 15, another girl involved in trafficking from Hull. I was taken out of Hull where I was taken to a house with around 20 men. It was a house with older men and children who they abused and raped. Me and another girl from Hull was listed as high-risk missing persons and broadcasted across the media. The police never took my case further. I feel failed and I feel let down and it is scary to know those men are still out there to abuse other girls. There's more. I am Olivia, another girl from Hull involved in Marksman, also taken to properties and raped and abused by men over double my age. I was taken to more of this and it just ended up worse with more men and more rapes. When I should have been protected, I was failed as a looked after child and the social services didn't put anything in place apart from putting me in a more vulnerable situation. I say they, sorry I apologise. I say they, those are 50 men. Individual cases, 50 men I've met whilst I should have been protected by the system. Longer periods of time I was missing for and over all the media. Sorry, I do apologise. Sorry, I've lost my place, I do apologise. Longer periods of time I was missing for and over all the only solutions social media have sat through video interviews, etc., as we are promised justice. The only thing we get from any of this is trauma brought back up. There was never no support put in place to help me or the other girls, and I am disgusted. So one.
Justice!
Right, now I've got a young lady here. I'd ask you all to be quiet, please, and be a bit respectful. She's a little bit nervous.
Oh yeah,
okay?
Phil's here.
Thank you all. We come into this. It really, really means a lot. I was a victim of the crimes that these men did. I was one of the girls who were raped almost daily for 3 years, and I was let down by the police. And I used to be scared to walk down the street because they're still walking free. And I used to be terrified. I used to have nightmares. But now, you're all there. There's an army of people behind me, and I thank you so much. Yes, I'm a survivor. I am a survivor. And these people will not ever hurt me again. It could happen to anyone. Absolutely anyone. It could be your child, anybody. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for supporting us and being. If that's not enough to get people out onto the streets to protect these girls, I don't know what is. We could have brought thousands of people from all out of the city today, but what does that matter? Because they all go home, don't they? The most important people today are you, the people of Hull. You're the people that live here. You're the people that have to protect these girls. If you see something, you need to report it. They say there's no evidence. Give them the evidence. You see it all around. You know you see it all around. Don't let this happen anymore. Don't let there be any more victims. Okay? It's down to you guys now. Okay? And you can't thank you enough for coming today. But this needs to keep on. You need to keep working hard for these girls. Okay? Thank you.
Well done, darling. You've done so well.
I feel so much better. I feel like
I'm a little warrior there.
Like,
well done.
I've told people now I'm not scared now because they cannot hurt me and there's people behind me and I've done it. I can't let what happened to me define me, and I'm going to do well. I'm going to get myself to uni.
You will
In September, and I'm going to make something of myself because fuck the people that have done bad things to me. I'm going to prove to them that I'm going to do something with my life.
for yourself. And you can. You stood there. That was the bravest thing ever.
I know.
Well done.
I can't believe I've done it,
You've
but
done
I
it.
have.
Stronger than you think. Well done.
Bollocks have grown 10 times now.
It's got bigger bollocks than all of them men out there.
You have.
What goes through the rest?
It's amazing what you've just done.
I will ask the right to speak.
I never thought I'd have the courage to.
Your voice means more to those girls that's victims than any of ours.
I can do Facebook posts. A lot of people that never turned up to them. But we did. A great man once said to me, when you talk, don't read from a piece of paper, don't read from a script, say it from your heart. That man was my father. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I always do. First of all, I want to thank every single one of you people here for turning out. Right? You got out your beds, you've shown your hand, you've got up, and you supported these young ladies. Okay? I also want to thank all them morons. And I'll tell you why I want to thank them for doing that. Because they give us clarity. They give us clarity in the fact that we're needed. We're needed. We're needed to speak up for these girls. Alright? Because when we've got people living like that within our society, within our communities, that oppose us, because we want to stand up and give a voice to young girls that are being raped, abused, beaten, threatened, and sold. For them to turn up and oppose us, they're worse than the people that are doing it. Yeah. You know the original plan for this march today? We was originally asked, we originally applied to march down Spring Bank. Careful, John. 2 days, no, don't worry. 2 days before, the police told us they don't want us to march down Spring Bank. Because they said it might cause, well, they suggested it might cause some kind of racial incitement. Now, if you look down our Facebook page, right, if you look down everything we've said on the internet and everywhere else, race has not been mentioned at all. In fact, I personally have posted every day to say that anybody don't do Nazi salutes in my presence, mate. You won't put up with it. Right? Fucking knock you out. Yeah. Right. Fucking Zingel my ass. Yeah. Right.
Is it Antifa? Really?
Anyway, the police stopped us marching down Spring Bank.
Why have the police allowed Antifa to
I
come to
know
this?
why. We haven't mentioned race. I've personally put Facebook posts every day inviting everybody to join us, regardless of their race. They're telling us that raping young girls is wrong. Come and join us. Okay? Come and join us. And I also want to say that for the police to say that we may incite racial hatred through marching down the street, which is full of Middle Eastern men from Islamic communities, they may think that we don't. They may know something. They may know something that we don't. But for me, it's all counterproductive. Right? Because, for me, I do not believe that every single member of the Islamic, the Middle Eastern communities, the Muslim communities, I don't believe that every single one of them agrees with the raping of young girls. I'm told that they're as disgusted as we are. So what I would like to see, if they're as disgusted as what we are, come and join us. Come and join us, you're very welcome. Also, my personal opinion is, any human being
They're allowed to be there because they're paid by
that
the council.
discriminates or dislikes somebody just because of the colour of their skin, they disagree because of the colour of their skin, their ethnicity, or their religion, you're not welcome here, because that's not what we're about. We're about getting justice, okay? Justice for the girls of all. I'm going to carry on, all right? I'll be another 10 minutes. Yeah. I'll be another 10 minutes of just telling you to keep
You
going.
thought I talked a lot.
I'm going to keep going. Right, you know, on paper, this country has got a great system in place to protect the vulnerable. On paper. We've got social services that provide a safe refuge and protect vulnerable people. We've got the police force. With a CPS, they look at the evidence, and then what they do is they decide whether it goes to court or not. When it goes to court, people face a trial by justice, a trial by jury or a trial by judges to see whether they're innocent or whether they're guilty. What a great system that is on paper. But you know what? We might as well rip that bloody piece of paper up. Every single bit of it. Because in reality, we've just heard it. We've just heard it from a young girl right? A young child, right? But it gets reported to the police. It gets told to social services. They know about it. The police do their job in part. They collected 10,000 text messages. They arrested 34 men. So the police on the street have done their jobs. It's not the police on the street we need to worry about. It's the ones in the bloody offices. Them coppers,
Hiya,
the
Brett.
fathers, their uncles,
Hope you
the
well.
brothers, they're the same as us. They don't want to see their kids getting raped. It's not just down to them. It's down to the people upstairs. It's down to their bosses. On that interview with Sky, Detective Chief Inspector Rebecca Dickinson for Humberside Police, there was a young girl who was trafficked from Leeds to Hull to be sold and to be raped. When asked if her case was investigated, Rebecca Dickinson, Detective Chief Inspector Dickinson, said no, she wouldn't have been because she's not from Hull. The crime happened in Hull! Why weren't it investigated?
Indeed, with the
Why wasn't it investigated? I'm getting angry. We've also got MPs in this city. We've got MPs in this city. If we're not happy with the system, who do we go to? He's still in his office masturbating his ego. Emma Hardy said that police told her that there's no organised grooming gangs in Hull. 34 men were arrested! 34 men! So the police know that there's people that they want to bring to justice, but their hands are being tied by their bosses and they're being tied by the CPS. Our children are sacrificial lambs for cohesion. That's what it is. And what's happening is,
Run by a committee, not a
what's happening is, the government and the police, social services, they're keeping Middle Eastern people away from us. They're living in single areas of the city. They're isolated. We don't know them. They don't know us. They're not scared of us. They come from countries where they live in fear.
The hotels are full of them getting living. Call them all.
Listen, they come from countries where they live in fear. And when they come here, them people that they're scared of in their own countries are coming with them. So the fear is still here. That's why they're not speaking out. They're not speaking out. They're not scared of us. They're scared of their own people. That might threaten them for speaking out. That's what it is.
So why should we take them that road, John?
So what do we want, people? What do we want? Justice for the girls of us. Justice for the girls of us. 1 minute. Justice.
Are you on my phone then?
Justice. Right. I just want to finish in saying, as you can tell from my accent, I'm not from Hull. Right? I moved here 32 years ago. Right? Before I moved to Hull, I never heard of you. It was a small fishing village up north. But I come here anyway. And one of the main things that I love about Hull, and the reason I'm still here for 32 years, is the people. You tell it how it is. You don't take no rubbish. Right? You come from a pioneering city. This is the city where William Wilberforce led the fight against slavery. This is modern day slavery. These girls are being sold for sex. They're being enslaved. We need to follow our ancestors. We need to follow William Wilberforce. And we need to stand up and defend these girls. You are my people now. And we are the people. And we are the people that are going to stand up. We're not going to be another Rotherham. We're not going to be another Rochdale. Right? We're going to stand up. We're not having it. We're not having it in our city. Well, that was a bit of passion, wasn't it? Right, ladies and gentlemen. Now come to the last speaker. Now, we all know Sharon. Sharon Binks, yes. I've only been in touch with Sharon for the last couple of weeks, and we all know her background. 15 years with North... yeah, I do. 15 years with North York County Council and the Family Services Unit, and then systematically sacked for her outspoken views on child abuse and child grooming. No, she was called a racist, and she's been called a racist since. And Sharon said to me the other day, we were talking, she says, in fact I think it was on before we did the podcast the other night, she went, by speaking out about child grooming, child rape, trafficking, if that makes me a racist, then yes, I'm a racist. I care more about the girls' welfare than I do my own. That's some statement.
Yes, Sharon's on it. Go on, Sharon.
Ian asked me, so I'm going to do it. But I think the reason Ian's asked me is because I did get sacked. And a little bit of background. I was groomed by a family member when I was 6, and 40 years later there was graffiti in my hometown about it, and I thought, I'll report it to the police, because if anybody else has reported it as a victim, it'll go further to being taken seriously. So that's what I did anyway. A few months later, and I told my manager at work, he was from Hull, ex-copper, and he was, by this time I'd been in the service 15 years, I was family group conferencing at this point. Told him all about it, told him what had happened, and I'd been to the police, and then I told him that I'd had a bit of a shock in the May because they told me it was going to court. CPS were taking it to court, and I thought, well, I know how it works. Without evidence, it's your word against them. In any rape case or anything like that, they have to have the evidence, right? You go on the evidence with the jury. Now, my mum was dead, his mum was dead, my word against him 40 years ago. Then I find out there's a pot of money for historical abuse cases. Wonder why they took my case to court with no evidence, and they won't take none of these to court. Is there not a pot of money for you to get your thieving hands on CPS and the solicitors and everybody else in the court? They even set me up in the court and stood him outside the window of the room I was waiting in just before I went to court to try to put me off. I knew what they were doing, really. I didn't at the time, I was in a bit of a shock, but anyhow. So that's a year of waiting for it to go to court, knowing it was all a waste of time and a waste of money. But that same month that I found out it was going to court, I heard about a girl in Sunderland called Chelsea. And Chelsea had been gang raped and beaten, and she'd gone to this party after a pub or something. Now she went to the police station after the offence. Evidence clear to see, apparently. CPS dropped it, said there wasn't enough evidence. She'd apparently gone there willingly. I don't think she expected what to happen anyway, but so there was a demonstration organised in the June. I thought I'll go along because I don't understand what's going on here. Why is the CPS taking my case to court? So I went to a few demos, and that was in the June about all of this grooming, and I worked in the council. So if I didn't know about all of this, anyway, so I find out a bit more, and it turns my stomach, and I get clearly my fear and rage system's triggered by it. So I start talking about it. Manchester bombing happened and all of that, and so I'm talking about it at work, about all of these kids getting raped and how massive this grooming situation is and how long it's been going on for.
Well, obviously people in the office didn't appreciate my views. I got accused of being racist and far right. So rather than any of the managers speaking to me, it went up the chain. Nobody came to see why I'd had a change of behaviour in my workplace or why I was suddenly sharing this new information. So it went up the chain and they left it. Well, 2 months later they came and told me I was suspended. I came off of Facebook, I came off of all of it, didn't look at it, didn't post anything, nothing. They sacked me in December. They had no intention of keeping my job up. So they tried to do me for racial discrimination, but they couldn't prove I'm racist because I'm not. So they said it was religious discrimination because of the group that were targeted in my post or whatever, and the conversations I was having in the office. Now, rather than consider the severity of the things that I was talking about and all the victims in the wake of that, they took it out on me. They thought it was more important to shut me up and sack me. Well, they can't shut me up. They can stop me getting employed, and they can stop me getting a job and earning a living, but they can't shut me up.
No one can.
So a year later I go to court and it's obviously I didn't win my case because I was never going to. And then within a couple of weeks of that I went to the memorial march in Manchester, a year on from the Manchester bombing, with this guy down here, Ed Phil and John Lawrence, wherever you are. And we promptly got stopped by the police, and I got falsely arrested, and I got beaten up. And the following year, no, three years later, I won my case against the police because it was proven in court, lying under oath, didn't know the law, false arrest. Apparently they used reasonable force in the back of that van, but anybody that's seen the video will see otherwise. So anyway, here I am. And all I'll say to you is, don't stop in the fucking job. For the council, who do nothing but cover their own backs and get dictated to. I mean, you tell me who's in control if he's shutting me up and they're talking about these victims when I'm working in a service that's supposed to protect children. What the hell is going on? The council members are all rubbing their own, each other's backs and then lining their own pockets. Absolutely. So I think we need to target the people that's really the problem in this country, and that's the councillors and the police force that's being dictated to by these councillors and not protecting the children of this country because they're a commodity and they're making too much bloody money out of them. They can trace somebody carrying drugs across the country, county to county, that big operation that was just had, but they can't stop the girls getting trafficked. They can't stop the taxi drivers. It's a business. It's a business like all the taxi firms, the takeaway shops, the phone shops, the vape shops. It's a business. They're in it for the business. And to the council, if you try to get a business opened, if you're me and you try to open a business, you can't afford the rates. You've got a lot of money to be able to pay for a shop. But they're all popping up all over the place. It's a business. They're all making money out of it, and they're all getting paid. And these victims here are the ones that suffer for it. It needs to stop. And I was saying to Ian, it's a year today since I got my cancer removed. So let's remove this cancer from this society that we've come across. Thank you.
Dropped the mic that many times there, I'm wondering whether it's
Well,
going
there is
to
one
again.
fact over that speech. We'll never shut Sharon up.
He warned me before I went on as well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes those speeches for today.
Can't we have a speech in that last Sharon? Can't we say something?
I'm not going to say...
Well, you said enough, you.
Yeah, I know, but I hate these fucking... We all know
My
what's going
friends of
on,
hope
don't we?
is just the beginning. We've tested the waters yet to see. And I look at your faces now, I know what So thank you once again.
Well done, you. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.
Well done. The admin team, especially myself. Thank you.
I've got grandkids in Manchester. Fair play to you. Keep up the good work. Definitely, you will get our support. I got hundreds of pounds, you know. You got our support.
Oh, thanks everything to all of us. Oh, bless you, darling.
I'm
going to do the same thing.
Oh,
Brilliant speech. Yes.
No, don't worry, he can't. He's tried. I've been arrested and all sorts of things. He can't shut me up.
Shows you fighting the good fight, doesn't it?
Oh, bless you, darling.
On behalf of the girls, thank you very much for today. Onwards and upwards with United Hope. Thank you.
Well, people, I think that finishes things for today. 22 likes. There's number 22. Where's Phil? Where's Phil go? Yeah, no, I'll finish up here. Right, folks, I'm going to go. Sign off for today. Peace, love and light, everybody. Well done.
Legend. Legend.
Oh.